So, I have always loved to be scared. Many of you have heard my earlier pieces about what it was like to be born on Halloween, which I was, with a father and family who were overzealous about terrorizing the neighborhood at any given opportunity, and Halloween just presented such a perfect opportunity to do that. So there was lots of ways that we fabricated scares. We would plant my sister in a group of trick-or-treaters and then snatch her in the door of the house. We would ambush people 2 doors down from where we had just scared them, like we weren't going to leave them alone. I mean, it goes on and on. And I've always loved to be scared, and I've always wanted to see a ghost, a real ghost. And I never have. That's a scare I've never gotten to have. I've gone to all these haunted places, but I've never seen what could truly be considered a ghost. So, second to that for me is I love hearing people's scary dreams. I feel like there's something strange that happens in sleep and in dreaming. It's close to reaching that kind of seeing a ghost disturbance in the spirit, which I enjoy. I enjoy having scary dreams because I remember them, even if they were terrifying. I kind of love the fantasy of what's been conjured, and I love hearing other people's. But I want to tell you the scariest dream that I've ever heard, and it was actually told to me by someone who I would have never expected to tell me the scariest dream I ever heard, and it was my grandmother. And she is not the type to indulge in telling or listening to ghost stories or anything horrific at all. But she and my mother have shared this strange kind of connection, and I don't know what belief to attribute it to, but there are things that have happened with a certain uncanny perceptions they've had of when things have gone wrong, and they've known before they were going to happen, that have happened over and over to these very no-nonsense women in my family. So this dream, my grandmother was only about 30 years old, and she had a dream that she was at a picnic, and she was there with her family, and like movies and dreams that are horrific often do, it started innocently enough. They were outside, just having a regular picnic. They had chicken and potato salad, and being in the Midwest, probably 7 macaroni casseroles, and they're hanging out. And she realized, oh, this is all my family. This is everyone that I know, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. Then she noticed that her mother kept leaving the party, and she was running across the street. And my grandmother looked across the street, and across the street under the shade of a big willow tree were all the family members who had died. And her mother was bringing them food, and she was running back and forth across the street, becoming more and more frantic as she was racing back and forth between the two sides of the family. And one time when she ran across the street, she screamed, and her scream woke my grandmother up. And she grabbed her husband Clayton and said, "We need to call my mom. We need to call my mom." And her mom died that night. And that is the scariest dream I've ever heard.